God says, "My child, if these words have found you today, receive them as a work of inspirational fiction meant to encourage your heart. I have watched every tear you believed was unseen, every prayer you whispered when no voice answered, and every silent moment when you wondered whether hope had quietly left your life. Listen carefully, my child. There are seasons when heaven seems silent, not because love has withdrawn, but because unseen pieces are moving into their appointed places. What I am about to reveal changes everything, not because your future suddenly begins today, but because your eyes are beginning to notice what has been unfolding around you all along. Stay with me. Your spirit has sensed that something is changing, even if your mind cannot yet explain it. There is a location prepared for a meeting that neither fear nor delay can erase. It is not simply a place on a map. It is a moment where healing, courage, forgiveness, and destiny quietly converge. Long before either of you understood the journey ahead, paths were being shaped beyond your sight. Every unexpected delay, every closed door, every road that seemed to lead nowhere carried a purpose hidden beneath the surface. You wondered why life kept redirecting you, yet every redirection preserved something precious that you could not yet see. Do not stop listening. The story is deeper than coincidence. The places you almost visited, the invitations you almost accepted, the opportunities that disappeared before your eyes, and even the moments that left your heart disappointed were never meaningless. They became threads woven together into a design far greater than your understanding. Your heart believed something had been lost forever, but sometimes what appears lost is only being protected until the proper season arrives. Keep listening, my child. This is only the beginning of the mystery. God says, "My child, continue to receive these words as an inspirational story created to strengthen hope within your heart. There is something you still do not know, and it has been quietly unfolding while you believed nothing was changing. The place I spoke of has not forgotten your name. Every sunrise has carried it a little closer. Every sunset has hidden another piece of the journey until the appointed time could arrive. Listen carefully, my child. The location is not becoming holy because you will stand there. It becomes meaningful because your heart is finally becoming ready to recognize what has been prepared. There were seasons when you would have walked past the very blessing you prayed for because fear was louder than faith and pain was louder than peace. That is why time itself became one of your greatest protectors. Stay with me. While you counted delays, heaven counted preparation. While you questioned closed doors, unseen hands quietly redirected your footsteps away from heartbreak you never needed to experience. You thought certain opportunities were stolen from you forever, yet many of them were simply roads leading away from your true purpose. Do not stop listening. Someone else has been walking a different road that has been just as difficult. The one your heart longs to meet has carried questions they could never fully answer. They searched for peace in places that could never satisfy them. They believed they had missed their moment. They wondered whether love had quietly passed them by. Yet every disappointment shaped compassion within them, and every unanswered prayer taught them to treasure what is genuine instead of what is temporary. There is something heaven has not revealed until now. Both journeys have been moving toward the same destination from opposite directions. Neither traveler fully understands why certain paths suddenly changed. Neither realizes that every unexpected turn prevented an encounter that would have happened too early. Timing has always been part of the miracle. Keep listening. Imagine a quiet morning where nothing appears extraordinary. The streets are familiar. The air carries an ordinary calm. People continue with their routines without realizing that one seemingly ordinary moment can forever divide a life into before and after. Miracles often arrive dressed as ordinary moments. They rarely announce themselves with thunder. Instead, they whisper through unexpected conversations, peaceful interruptions, and gentle invitations that almost seem too simple to notice. Your heart needs to hear this. Never believe that a blessing must appear dramatically to be divinely significant. Some of the greatest turning points begin with the smallest decisions. A different route. A delayed appointment. An unexpected message. A chance invitation. A quiet feeling that tells you to keep walking instead of turning back. These moments often become the bridges between yesterday's sorrow and tomorrow's joy. But that is not the deepest truth. The greatest transformation is not waiting at the destination alone. It is happening within you even now. Every season of healing has been teaching your spirit to recognize peace instead of confusion, wisdom instead of impulse, patience instead of fear. The version of you arriving at that future location will not be the same person who first began praying for it. That is part of the miracle. The blessing is changing as you change. The future is becoming beautiful because your heart is becoming stronger. Listen carefully, my child. Never measure progress only by what your eyes can see. Some of the most important victories happen where no human applause can reach. Every moment you choose hope instead of despair. Every time you forgive instead of holding bitterness. Every quiet decision to keep believing after disappointment. These unseen victories become the foundation for visible miracles later. This is only the beginning. The story has not reached its greatest revelation yet, because the place that awaits is not merely about finding another person. It is about discovering the peace that allows love to flourish without fear. When that moment finally arrives, you will realize that every difficult chapter carried a hidden purpose, every unanswered question shaped deeper wisdom, and every delay protected a future more beautiful than you could have imagined. Until then, walk forward with courage, keep your heart open to hope, and remember that even when the road feels ordinary, extraordinary grace can still be quietly unfolding one faithful step at a time. God says, "My child, receive these words as an inspirational story meant to awaken hope within your soul. Do not look away, because the mystery continues to unfold in ways your heart has already begun to sense. There is a reason you have felt an unexplainable stirring lately, a quiet feeling that something is shifting beneath the surface even though your daily life appears unchanged. Your spirit recognized movement before your eyes could perceive it. That is how many of life's deepest transformations begin. They are first felt within the soul long before they become visible in the world around you. Listen carefully, my child. There are moments when silence is not the absence of an answer but the sound of unseen preparation. While you believed the story had paused, every chapter continued to be written with extraordinary care. Every disappointment became a lesson that strengthened your compassion. Every lonely evening became an opportunity for your heart to grow wiser. Every unexpected ending quietly made room for a beginning that could never have existed otherwise. Stay with me. You once wondered why certain people suddenly disappeared from your life without explanation. You questioned why conversations ended, why promises dissolved, and why paths separated when you believed they were meant to remain together forever. Yet there are seasons when letting go becomes an invisible act of protection. Not every connection is meant to accompany you into the next chapter. Some relationships prepare you. Others refine you. And a very few remain to walk beside you when your heart is finally ready to receive them without fear. There is something you still do not know. The one whose heart has been quietly changing has also experienced nights filled with uncertainty. They have questioned whether they were worthy of lasting love. They have carried regrets they rarely speak aloud. They have wished they could rewrite moments that still echo within their memory. Yet those very struggles have softened what pride once hardened. The places where they once reacted with fear have slowly become places where compassion has begun to grow. Keep listening. Transformation often happens so gradually that those living through it hardly notice until one ordinary day they realize they are no longer the person they used to be. The wounds that once controlled every decision no longer possess the same power. The fears that once whispered constantly begin to lose their voice. Hope quietly becomes stronger than doubt. This is how healing enters a life. Not always through dramatic miracles, but through countless small moments that slowly reshape the heart from within. But that is not the deepest truth. The greatest preparation has never been about arranging circumstances alone. It has been about teaching both hearts to recognize genuine peace. Love built upon fear cannot endure every storm. Love rooted in patience, honesty, kindness, and trust grows stronger with every passing season. That is why your journey has taken longer than you expected. The destination is precious because the foundation has been carefully formed. Listen carefully, my child. When the appointed moment finally arrives, you may be surprised by how ordinary it appears at first. There may be no thunder, no grand announcement, no unmistakable sign visible to everyone around you. Instead, there may simply be a conversation that feels strangely familiar, a peaceful smile that quiets anxieties you have carried for years, or a moment in which your heart recognizes a sense of calm it has searched for far longer than it realized. Do not stop listening. Some miracles announce themselves through overwhelming emotion. Others reveal themselves through unexpected peace. The miracle awaiting you belongs to the second kind. Instead of confusion, there will be clarity. Instead of constant striving, there will be rest. Instead of wondering whether you are enough, there will be quiet confidence that you are deeply valued exactly as you are. Your heart needs to hear this. Never believe that your past mistakes have erased the possibility of a beautiful future. Every chapter of growth has become part of the person you are becoming. Even the seasons you wish had never happened have given you wisdom that cannot be learned any other way. They have taught you empathy for the hurting, patience with the struggling, and gratitude for blessings that once seemed ordinary. This is only the beginning. The road ahead still holds discoveries beyond anything revealed so far. More doors will open. More understanding will arrive. More healing will unfold in ways that will one day cause you to look back with quiet amazement. And when you remember this journey, you will realize that hope was never asking you to ignore reality. It was gently inviting you to believe that even in life's longest nights, the dawn had already begun moving toward you, one unseen moment at a time. God says, "My child, receive these words as a continuation of this inspirational story, written to encourage your heart and remind you that hope often grows in places where certainty cannot yet be found." Listen carefully, my child. You have wondered whether the place you have been waiting for truly exists, or whether it was only a dream your heart created to survive another difficult season. Yet every meaningful journey reaches a moment when the traveler questions the road just before the destination begins to appear. That moment is not proof that you are lost. It is often the final lesson before a new beginning unfolds. Stay with me, because there is something your heart still needs to understand. The location I have spoken about is not important because of the streets, the buildings, or the landscape surrounding it. It becomes sacred within this story because it represents the place where fear finally loses its grip and hope becomes stronger than yesterday's disappointment. Long before you arrive there, your soul begins traveling toward it. Every choice to forgive instead of holding bitterness becomes another step. Every act of kindness offered without expecting anything in return becomes another step. Every quiet decision to keep believing when doubt whispers otherwise becomes another step. Do not stop listening. There were moments when you believed your story had been forgotten. You watched others celebrate, while your own prayers seemed to remain unanswered. You questioned why life appeared to move forward for everyone except you. Yet hidden beneath every unanswered question, unseen preparation continued. The chapters that seemed empty were never empty at all. They were quietly filled with growth that only time could reveal. Your spirit was becoming stronger than your circumstances, even when you could not feel the change taking place. There is something you still do not know. Somewhere else within this story, another heart has also been changing. They remember moments they wish they could relive. They have carried silent regrets into sleepless nights. They have looked back on conversations they wish had gone differently. They have wondered whether healing was still possible after so much uncertainty. Yet every difficult memory became a teacher instead of a prison. Every mistake became an invitation to become wiser. Every lonely season softened the places where pride once stood. Keep listening. Neither journey has been perfect, yet perfection was never the purpose. Transformation has always been the purpose. The strongest connections are rarely formed by two people who have never struggled. They are formed by two people who have learned how to let compassion become greater than fear. That is why the timing has mattered so much throughout this story. Hearts still learning to trust cannot fully receive what genuine love desires to give. Hearts still carrying yesterday's pain often mistake peace for uncertainty because chaos has become familiar. But healing changes everything. Listen carefully, my child. Imagine a quiet afternoon unlike any other. Nothing appears extraordinary at first. The sky is calm. The world continues as it always has. People move through their routines without realizing that one ordinary decision is quietly changing the direction of countless tomorrows. A path that almost crossed before now finally meets. A conversation that almost happened before now begins at the right moment. A smile that once would have gone unnoticed now carries unexpected comfort. The miracle does not announce itself with overwhelming noise. It arrives gently, allowing peace to speak louder than excitement. Stay with me. The greatest surprise is not simply that two paths meet. The greatest surprise is how familiar hope suddenly feels. Instead of wondering whether you are accepted, your heart discovers rest. Instead of questioning every word, you begin to experience trust. Instead of expecting disappointment around every corner, you slowly realize that healing has changed the way you see the world. This is only the beginning. The story continues beyond the meeting itself. Every meaningful connection requires patience, honesty, forgiveness, and courage. These gifts cannot be borrowed at the last moment. They are developed through every season that came before. That is why no chapter of your journey has been wasted. Even the pages you wished to skip became necessary for the wisdom you now carry. But that is not the deepest truth. The deepest truth is that your value was never created by another person's arrival. Your worth was present long before anyone recognized it. The purpose of this journey has never been to complete someone who was empty. It has always been to bring together two hearts that have each learned the beauty of healing, growth, and hope. Only then can love become something that gives freely instead of something that desperately searches to be filled. Do not look away, my child. There will still be moments when old fears try to return. There will still be memories that whisper familiar doubts. There will still be days when uncertainty attempts to convince you that nothing has changed. Yet each time peace quietly rises within you, you will remember that healing is stronger than fear. You will remember that courage is not the absence of uncertainty but the decision to keep walking even when every answer has not yet appeared. Your heart needs to hear this. Never believe that kindness is weakness. Never believe that patience means failure. Never believe that delayed blessings have been forgotten. Sometimes the greatest gifts take longer because they are shaping not only your future but also your character. A hurried blessing may satisfy today's emotions, but a prepared blessing has the power to transform tomorrow. Keep listening. There will come a day when you look back upon every delay with unexpected gratitude. You will remember the opportunities that disappeared, the relationships that ended, the roads that unexpectedly closed, and you will finally understand that not every closed door was a loss. Some were quiet acts of protection. Some redirected your story toward a future that could not have existed any other way. Others gave your heart the time it needed to become ready for the peace it had always been seeking. As this chapter draws gently toward its close, carry this hope with you. The journey is not asking you to abandon wisdom or ignore reality. It is inviting you to believe that growth, healing, compassion, and faithful perseverance can transform even the longest season of waiting into the foundation of a beautiful tomorrow. And when the next chapter begins, you will discover that the greatest surprise was never simply about a location. It was about the remarkable person you became while faithfully walking toward it, one quiet step, one healed memory, and one hopeful sunrise at a time. God says, "My child, receive these final words as the closing chapter of this inspirational story, and let them settle gently within your heart. Stay with me a little longer, because what has been unfolding throughout this journey was never meant to leave you with uncertainty. It was always leading you toward peace. Listen carefully, my child. You have traveled through moments that felt endless. You have carried questions that seem to echo without answers. You have stood in places where hope felt fragile and where every step forward demanded courage you were not sure you possessed. Yet even in those seasons, something beautiful was quietly taking shape beneath everything you could see. The story was never truly about distance. It was never only about timing. It was never merely about whether two paths would eventually cross. It was always about the quiet transformation of a heart learning to trust again after disappointment, learning to love without allowing fear to become its guide, and learning to recognize that healing often arrives so gently it is only understood when looking back. Do not stop listening. There is something your heart has waited a long time to hear. Every chapter that seemed painful carried a purpose beyond the pain itself. Every delay invited patience. Every unanswered question encouraged wisdom. Every closed door gently redirected your steps away from futures that could never have brought lasting peace. Even when you believed life had forgotten you, your character continued to grow through experiences that no shortcut could ever replace. That is why this ending is not simply about reaching a destination. It is about discovering that the person arriving is stronger, kinder, wiser, and more compassionate than the person who first began the journey. Keep listening. Imagine standing at the edge of a brand new morning. The light slowly fills the horizon, not all at once, but little by little, until the darkness quietly surrenders. That is how hope returns. It does not always arrive with dramatic announcements. Sometimes it simply grows brighter with every faithful step until one day you realize fear no longer controls your future. The place that once existed only in your imagination now feels close enough to touch, not because the world suddenly changed overnight, but because your heart finally learned how to receive peace instead of expecting disappointment. There is something you still need to remember. The people who enter your life do not determine your worth. They may celebrate it, encourage it, and share in your journey, but they do not create it. Your value has always existed independently of applause, recognition, or affection. The greatest lesson hidden within this story has been the discovery that genuine love grows healthiest when it begins from wholeness rather than emptiness. A healed heart gives freely because it is no longer searching desperately to be completed. It has already learned the quiet strength of hope, forgiveness, and gratitude. Stay with me. Somewhere within this story another traveler has also reached a place of quiet understanding. They have learned from their mistakes. They have become gentler through hardship, wiser through disappointment, and more compassionate through their own healing. Whether your paths meet tomorrow, much later, or whether life ultimately leads each of you toward different purposes, the miracle remains the same. Growth has already taken place. Love has already changed both hearts for the better. Healing has already accomplished something no setback could erase. That is why the ending carries peace instead of fear. Listen carefully, my child. The greatest surprise was never hidden in a single location. It was hidden in every step that brought you there. It lived inside every lesson you once resisted, every tear you believed had no purpose, every act of forgiveness that seemed impossible, and every quiet morning when you chose hope even though certainty had not yet arrived. Those ordinary decisions shaped an extraordinary future. They prepared you to recognize blessings not because they were perfect, but because your perspective had become wiser. Do not look away. Many people spend their lives searching endlessly for one remarkable moment while overlooking the countless small miracles surrounding them each day. This story gently reminds you that extraordinary lives are often built from ordinary acts of courage repeated over and over again. Every encouraging word you spoke, every patient choice you made, every opportunity to show kindness even while carrying your own burdens became part of a foundation stronger than you realized. Nothing offered in love was ever wasted. Nothing learned through compassion was ever meaningless. Keep listening. As this journey reaches its final pages, allow yourself to release the weight of believing you must control every outcome. Some roads remain uncertain, and that is all right. Some questions still have no immediate answers, and that is all right. Peace does not require knowing everything about tomorrow. It often begins with faithfully embracing today. When you focus on becoming the person you are meant to become, tomorrow has a remarkable way of unfolding with greater clarity than endless worry could ever provide. Your heart needs to hear this one last time. Never underestimate the quiet power of hope. Hope does not ignore hardship. Hope walks through hardship without allowing darkness to write the final chapter. Hope reminds you that every sunrise follows a night, every winter eventually welcomes spring, and every season of waiting carries opportunities to become someone stronger than circumstances alone could ever produce. This is where our story gently comes to rest. Not with every mystery completely explained, but with something even more valuable, a heart at peace with the journey. A spirit willing to keep moving forward. A soul that understands healing is not measured by the absence of scars but by the courage to keep loving despite them. Carry that truth with you beyond these pages. Let kindness guide your decisions. Let patience shape your expectations. Let compassion soften your judgments. Let gratitude remind you of blessings that often arrive quietly. And whenever life presents another unfamiliar road, remember this story and smile, knowing that the greatest destinations are not always found on a map. They are discovered within the quiet transformation of the heart. Walk forward with confidence, cherish the people who bring light into your life, extend grace to yourself when you stumble, and never lose sight of the possibility that tomorrow may hold beautiful surprises you cannot yet imagine. May hope continue to rise within you like the dawn, may peace accompany every step you take, and may your journey always lead you toward greater wisdom, deeper compassion, lasting joy, and a future illuminated by love that begins within and reaches outward to everyone whose path you are blessed to cross. And so this story ends, not with fear, but with hope, not with uncertainty, but with quiet trust, and not with an ending at all, but with the promise that every new sunrise offers another opportunity to choose faith, kindness, healing, and love.